And welcome back to my channel. Unless you're new here, and then just welcome. My name is Rusty, and this is my channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal. And welcome to my end of the year award shows, where we're going to clean up 2023. Now, I will say that 2023 was a pretty shit year for horror, in my opinion. I really enjoyed 21, 22, but there were a few really spectacular movies to me this year, but nowhere near. In other words, my top list was hard for a different reason. Usually it's hard because there were so many. This time it was hard because everything was mediocre. Everything was alright. It was good, it was alright, but there was nothing really spectacular. I think maybe my top four were really something super spectacular to me. So, yeah. But this is my award show for the worst pieces of shit, garbage, horror films of 2023. It was a little difficult, too, because there were so fucking many. And, so I had to, play around with that. So, we're going to get down to business. First, we'll start with a couple of honorable mentions. Haunting in Venice. What the fuck was that? Now, I don't mind that subgenre of film. I'm not really I like Clue. I like the original Death on the Nile, Murder on the Orient Express. Even the remake of Death on the Nile was alright. I don't really dislike Agatha Christie type stuff, but Jesus Christ, I've seen. But to put this out as a horror movie, even if it wasn't a horror movie, it still sucked. But I've seen scarier episodes with Angela Lansbury in fucking Murder, She Wrote. You know what I mean? This movie, Haunting in Venice, was absolutely boring. Of course, I don't have any of these to hold up and show to you, because why the fuck would I? So, Haunting in Venice was, I don't even know what they were trying to do. It was boring. It was lethargic. It made me tired. It made me want to go to sleep. It made me it was just one big sigh of a mess. So, Haunting in Venice, honorable mention, worst in 2023. Next we have Granted. This isn't my fare anyway. I'm not a big comedy person to begin with. Horror comedy I'm really picky about, just as picky as I am about regular comedy. I've got a good sense of humor, but it's mostly British and picky and silly. But we have Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion is not my fare, so, I'm sure people would be like, well, is it fair for you to judge that? What did you watch that for? You knew better than that. Well, the one, the original one, it was the kids liked it kind of thing. It was watchable and all, but this one really bored the shit out of me. I didn't find any of it entertaining at all. So, yeah, those are the honorable mentions. We have Haunting in Venice and Haunted Mansion, and now we begin the actual awards ceremony. And I'm a skate punk metalhead, so this is as close as I get to a fucking tuxedo. Alright, so you just have to deal with my all black shadows in the night kind of thing. So, at number 10, coming in at number 10, we have The Boogeyman. The Boogeyman. Oh no, here we go. It's another fucking PG-13 pile of shit. I'm so sick of that. I mean, and some of them, you know, I don't mind them playing that kind of game and wanting to put out horror and try to get 13-year-olds in the theater seats. I understand that. But you need to film the rest of the movie and then release it on physical. That way, those who think that shit like The Boogeyman didn't reach its potential can do it. I mean, and there's one on my top list in which the theatrical wouldn't have made it, but the uncut, no matter how little was added to it, actually put it over the top and made it grand. So, if you're going to do something like make yet another PG-13 thing, try to at least make it scary and try to then add some. And I'm not saying I don't like some, scary stories to tell in the dark. I think that's PG-13. One of my favorite movies of all time, The Covenant, is PG-13. Horror fantasy. So it's not that I'm would never like one, but I'm just tired of there being so many of them, and I'm tired of them not putting out a physical with an uncut or extended version for grown-ups. You know what I'm saying? In the horror community. So number 10, The Boogeyman. I actually there were some movies back in the mid 2000s, I believe. There was The Boogeyman 1, 2, and 3. I actually like that trilogy. I actually like those 3 movies called The Boogeyman. So I thought this was maybe like a remake of that when I first heard about it, but it's not. It's like some piss poor adaptation of Stephen King. And I did not like it at all. It was boring, and I'm tired of that shit. So at number 10, we have The Boogeyman. Coming in at number 9, we have What the Fuck Happened to the Meg? Alright, granted, the first one was blockbuster schlock. I understand that. But I still had a really good time with the first Meg. The Meg 2 is repulsively stupid. It was boring. It was generic. It was China, from what I understand. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Now, I know everybody's crazy about South Korean and Japanese horror. I like a lot of it too. But do you have a really cool China horror selection? Do you have a section in your collection for Chinese horror? I just don't. I can't think of one. So, the Meg 2 was boring. It was schlocky in the wrong way. It seemed like just a money grab to me. Nothing really worked in it, in my opinion. I was very, very disappointed in the Meg 2. So that's number 9. At number 8, coming in at number 8, why? Why? Why is there a film that exists called Exorcist Believer? Why does that film exist? Just to show Ellen Burstyn? What the fuck? I mean, are we going down the Amityville horror route here? I mean, what are we going to have next? The Exorcist frat party? I mean, what's coming next? The Exorcist Believer, again, bored the shit out of me. I didn't think that it was scary. I didn't think that it did not tickle my fancy in any way, shape, or form. Well, wasn't it cool to see Ellen Burstyn? Well, sure, I can look up pictures of Ellen Burstyn if I want to see Ellen Burstyn, but don't you want to see her act? Sure, but in something good. Okay? This movie was just stupid. That's all there is to it. So at number 8, we have Exorcist Believer. Believe me, it sucked. At number 7, we have Children of the Corn remake. Now, despite the mob panic that it causes, I actually like the Children of the Corn series. I've got them all. I like Genesis. I like couple of the sequels are worse than the others. I think the only Children of the Corn movie that I like really like below 5 out of 10 is that, 666, The Return of Isaac or whatever that was. That's like, oh my God, I'm going to really have to pull out all of my fanboy forgiveness to watch that one. But I love Urban Harvest. I love Genesis. Runaway, that's hard to find. I can't get it. Yeah, so I don't have them all. That's the only one I don't have yet. But it was still all right. It was just like mediocre, but all right. But I really like Genesis. So it's not that I have a thing against Children of the Corn. This Children of the Corn absolutely fucking sucked. I didn't like it. I didn't like the cast. I didn't like the storyline. I didn't like this remake, prequel, remake, sequel, reboot, what the fuck ever they think they're doing. I didn't have any fun with it whatsoever. So Children of the Corn comes in at number 7. Coming in at number 6, and let me preface this by saying, let me show you some shit here, okay? This is a beautiful Five Nights at Freddy's keep case full of cards, collector's cards. This is our other Five Nights at Freddy's keep case. We have keychains. We have cards. Beautiful collector's cards from Five Nights at Freddy's. Whole big stack of them. We have our Five Nights at Freddy's dog tags. We have all the games on all 3 of our Steam accounts. We've all beaten it. We all love Five Nights at Freddy's. This fucking movie sucked. Five Nights at Freddy's fucking sucked. I was so disappointed. We were all disappointed. It's like, but that's not scary. The games have made us all like throw our soda pop in the air. And up in the air your drinks go. I mean, the lore and the mythology behind Five Nights at Freddy's is such fertile ground for a really good scary horror movie. But oh no, it's got to be PG-13, and you can't show anything. You're talking about the ghosts of a bunch of dead children from a pedo serial killer. And it's supposed to be family fare? Bad. So yes, we were very disappointed with Five Nights at Freddy's. It sucked. It's a piece of shit. It's a pile of garbage. And we all 3 agreed that we do not want it in the house. So we will not be purchasing that movie. It was just an abomination to the idea of Five Nights at Freddy. But I'm sure that dick who made Five Nights at Freddy got some money for it. So I'm sure it'll be alright with him. Number 6, Five Nights at Freddy's. That movie was shit. And that's just the facts. So we're halfway through. We're up to number 5. Number 5, we have a ghost. Beetlejuice, you are not. I don't even like Beetlejuice. Right, yeah, that's true. I don't really care for Beetlejuice. But we have a ghost. It's like they wanted to make some kind of Beetlejuice knockoff, and it was not funny. It did absolutely nothing but make me go, what is this fucking shit? So I did not like We Have a Ghost. It was not, well, of course, that's probably like Haunted Mansion. I don't really like that kind of shit. So it gets points knocked off to begin with, which may seem a little unfair. But the point is, it's on my top list because it is a pile of steaming shit garbage. It was not funny. I don't know what they were trying to do. Well, I guess they were trying to make something funny like Beetlejuice. And it did not work in any way, shape, or form. So number 5, we have a ghost. Also known as we have a shitty movie. Number 4, we have... one of the most retarded, ridiculous, stupidest, idiotic, dumbass things that I have ever seen in my life, and that is Skinamarink. Did you try to do Psychotronic? You did not succeed. Did you try to do new and original and unique and something cool? You did not succeed. Did you try to do the Manson family on a really, really bunch of bad acid trips in the middle of Spawn Ranch, decide to go into the neighboring warehouse and fall all over the floor with the camera and call it a movie? That's what I think happened. If it was 1969. Skinamarink was... it has no redeeming value whatsoever, in my opinion. If it wouldn't be so painful to wipe your ass with the disc, I would use it on my next bowel movement. I hated Skinamarink. It was stupid as fuck. Number 3. Slaughterhouse. Are you just running out of ideas? I know that there are people out there who go, we need something new, something unique. I'm so tired of remakes. Dude, I would rather see like a remake of everything that has ever been made before you start going into fucking Slaughterhouse and the movie that comes after it, as a matter of fact. What the fuck? This Slaughterhouse was completely fucking stupid. It's just like they sit around and think, what is it's like, I don't know. They're sitting around, I want to say on dope, but at least people can have an imagination. They're stupid as hell, but they can have an imagination when they're stoned on weed. And at least they're like, hey man, wouldn't this be cool? And you're like, that's a good idea. You probably won't remember it when you're sober though. But this isn't that kind of ingenuity. It's like they're sitting around on something else. Crystal meth with a bump of fentanyl. Then they sit there spazzing out and they come up with ideas like Slaughterhouse. I'd rather see remakes. I would rather you remake anything for the 500th time. If you can't come up with an idea, clone something good and make it a good clone. Clone Friday the 13th. Clone Halloween. Clone Jaws. Clone whatever you do, just make it good. If you seriously can't come up with anything but Slaughterhouse, give up. Go find a job at the dollar store and consider your movie career having played out. Because the only people, I know I'm not going to do that. At number 2, we have the exact same arguments that I just gave you about number 3. We have Cocaine Shark. That is one of the most poorly made movies that I've ever seen in my life. A 3-year-old in the bathroom, in the tub, with little rubber duckies and a rubber shark could make a better, more realistic movie than Cocaine Shark. Whoever made it should be laughed out of the country. They should actually be laughed at until they move away to the deepest, darkest part of the Amazon jungle in a little treehouse 500 miles from the nearest cannibalistic tribe and stay there forever. Because that's all you deserve. That's the best thing that you could do for the human race, is just what suggestion that I gave. Cocaine Shark. Primo special effects there, dudes. And number 1, we have Nefarious. So, you come, you make a cool poster, just like right-wing fucking jerk-ass fascist pigs. You fake. You have to fake. Nobody's going to come see it if they know what it is. So you make up this cool poster, and you make out like you're going to show us the next Mr. Frost. You know, Jeff Goldblum movie, Mr. Frost, if you've never seen it. His best performance in anything, anytime, anywhere in his entire career is in Mr. Frost. You're going to give us a cross between Mr. Frost and Seven. You're going to give us that kind of horror movie. And instead, you throw us in a room to listen to what? An hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes? Seemed like it was like 10 hours long. You throw us in a room to listen to a barrage of every fascist right-wing talking point that you could find. And you should be able to tell that from the people who fucking star in it, because they don't star in any other kind of movies but those. It's the first thing that made me suspicious, actually. So, Nefarious is truly titled. It is a nefarious movie. There is absolutely nothing scary about it. It's not a horror movie. You might as well go to a right-wing political rally, sit down, listen to the speakers, and you have just watched the movie Nefarious. It goes side by side, and this might, and that might piss you off. You really shouldn't be here if it does. And this is going to piss you off too. If I'm not doing a non-horror top list, but if I did do a non-horror top list, it would be the twin brother of Nefarious, which is Sound of Freedom. Sure. Is human trafficking a problem? Oh, fuck yes, it has been for hundreds of years. Is it a horrible, horrible thing? Yes, it has been for hundreds of years. Do I need to be taught a bunch of fake news info by a guy who has been sued by 5 different women in the last year for aggravated sexual battery and aggravated sexual assault? Who's going to teach me about human trafficking? And then we have the producer of Sound of Freedom, who has just been accused of aggravated sexual battery on underage sex trafficking victims. 17, 16-year-old girls. Then you have the legitimate human trafficking agencies who are like, only like 15-20% at the very max of that movie has a basis in reality of any kind. It's made by the same people, starring the same people, around the same people. So if I did do a top non-horror worst of 2023, Sound of Freedom would be in it. There are human trafficking movies out there that you can go and watch that are actually legit. This isn't one of them. And if you don't believe anything that I'm saying, you have a little friend. His name is Google. You can go and Google it, and you will find out what's the controversy about Sound of Freedom. Just one Google search will tell you exactly what the problem is. Nefarious is a pile of shit. It's fake. It's not a horror movie. It made a poster and it advertised itself as a horror movie, and I don't like being fucked with like that. Because they can't get you to watch it if they told you the truth. And that's why it deserves my crown for 2023, the number one worst piece of shit garbage horror movie made in 2023 or released in 2023 is Nefarious. 7, you are not. Mr. Frost, you are not. What's the Denzel Washington one? With the demon. Keeps going around singing the fucking Rolling Stones song. John Goodman's in it. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, that's what it pretended that it was going to be, and it's not. It's a complete lie. It is a fake movie, and it gets the top spot. And so there we have honorable mentions: Haunting in Venice and Haunted Mansion. Going from 10 to 1, we have The Boogeyman. Number 9 is The Meg 2. Number 8, Exorcist Believer. Number 7, Children of the Corn. Number 6, Five Nights at Fuck Off. Number 5, we have A Ghost. Number 4 is Skinamarink. Number 3 is Slaughterhouse. Number 2 is Cocaine Shark. And number 1 is Nefarious. And that is the worst pile of shit garbage horror movies released in 2023. And I will be back with a more pleasant experience. Well, for me anyway, because there's some of them that will probably make you upset. But we will be back. Controversy? I have to have controversy. So we will be back with the top 10. And quite a few honorable mentions, as a matter of fact. Like I said, everything was kind of mediocre, but some shit was good. So we'll be back with the top 10 horror movies of 2023. And I will see you then. Always remember, never forget, you're a very, very special person, even if you love Skinamarink. And I will talk to you in the next video. Don't never let anyone tell you differently. You're a very special person. Like I said, even if you like Skinamarink, I still love you. You just have no taste.